Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show that you might not get because you had to be there. I am Kaden. This is my co-host.
I'm Paul Hockamesser, and this show is basically revolving around storytelling. We might do some games around here and everything, but for this episode, we just want to sort of jump into getting y'all to trying to connect with y'all by telling us or telling y'all our life story. I've said y'all like 6 times. um but yeah, I mean, just basically telling you our life story, how we're how we came to be friends and everything. um but yeah, do you have anything you want to start off with? Anything happened recently? I know we did this, talked about small talk earlier, but I mean, might as well.
Well, you know, not much going on. The future episodes, um, if we want to talk about how stuff's gonna be formatted just a little bit before we get into it.
Yeah.
We're going to mainly have the intro to each episode. We'll be talking about some small talk, what's going on in recent times, and each episode will have kind of its own concept as to what we're talking about. Where the overall theme of the episode, and each episode will be led by either myself or Paul here. And for this first episode, it's kind of just an introductory, sort of episode to the overall show. But
Yeah, and then we'll also have like some episodes will have like special events where we both host.
yes,
But that's for future. Right now, again, we're both hosting right now since it's the first one. We want to introduce ourselves to y'all, the audience, and so yeah, that's what this episode's mainly going to be focused about, is just again our lives together, how we came to become friends, how we came to the idealization of this podcast and everything. But yeah, if we want to just hop right into it, um,
yeah,
what's it called? This friendship is very much built on the mostly on Kaden's part, honestly, on Kaden's young stupid mind.
no, honestly, I was still at a point where my consciousness had only just barely begun to exist.
We do have I created a list of timeline, a timeline that I do have here. So actually, the first part is the what I named the before years, which is around 2005, 2011. So this is before we even met. What were do you know what you were doing before 2011 before?
Being a child, going to school or just starting school anyways. I mean, it really all, like, a lot of my core memories started after I was already in school and stuff. And so I remember the Xbox 360 was when my brain locked in and was like, "Oh my god, I'm existing. Look at this beautiful piece of machinery." Nah, but
The Xbox 360.
yeah. Yeah.
Have you had it? Did
You
you have a
know,
the original Xbox?
no, I did not. The Xbox 360 was the first, like, I had a DS before then, actually.
Oh,
But
honestly, peak.
yeah, peak. I also actually had a Game Boy Red, which
Ooh.
was fire. Um but yeah, like those Pokemon on the DS really cultivated my existence. And then the Xbox 360 was like the first full-on console I ever had.
I remember I think I had the SNES, and I don't know if I don't know what kind of console I had, but the first game I remember playing was it's a Simpsons game. I think it's like Simpsons like Home Run or something. Something where like again the game was revolved around the Simpsons show and everything, and it was like you were driving a car. I think you were trying to cause as much damage. I don't remember what the name of the game is, but that was my first memory. Apparently, I played a lot of Mario, which I don't remember. I don't remember in the slightest. And my dad was like, "Yeah, you played the hell out of my SNES," and I'm like, "Really?" And I'm like, "I don't even remember that console," but apparently I played a lot of it.
I remember I played some of the GameCube. My sister had a GameCube.
Oh, the GameCube was
So
awesome.
I would play Mario Kart on that thing all the time. It was
I was on
good piece
the
of machinery right
Yeah,
there.
I was on the other side of the spectrum. I didn't. I was hardwired in on Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh my god, Shadow the Hedgehog is like one of my all-time favorite games. It's so like old, but it's so good. It's so good. They knew what they were doing. I don't think I actually I don't know if the game actually did that well when it first came out. Maybe it did. I don't remember. I haven't looked at any sort of like analytics or anything, so like I don't know. But just from what I've heard, I don't think it actually did super well. It did. A lot of people like are fans of it now. I don't know if it did that well in 2005.
Yeah.
But oh my god, the I played online or not online. I think it was just bots. I think I thought I was playing online, but I think it was mostly just bots that I was playing against in the multiplayer mode. But yeah, I mean going into I mean yeah, that's basically what we were doing beforehand.
Yeah.
And then like I
When
remember
the Xbox 360 came,
the Xbox 360 came and
our whole lives were changed.
our whole lives were changed. Yeah. That's the best way to put it. I mean, 2011 to 2014, the what I named the origins. I think the Xbox 360 was around a little bit more or a little bit around a little bit longer. Um because I remember I was on that thing for a while and before I met you. And I had some like other friends that like I don't think I had any real friends. All my friends are online friends. And then I remember specifically there was these like two older guys that I would game with, and they would just looking back at it, they were just sort of tolerating me. I don't think they were
I
really my
see.
friends. They were sort of just tolerating me. I was the young kid, like fucking
Yeah.
like 5, 6 years old. I was not in any way comprehending anything they were talking about or anything. I didn't understand anything. But yeah, I mean, they were nice. I do remember at one point I did just stop talking to me. I think they finally had enough of me. I was like, oh, okay.
Damn.
And then I mean, around the same time, met a couple other people. I'm pretty sure we met through a mutual friend. If
Can't
either of us.
remember exactly who it was.
Yeah, I don't know if either of us are
Um,
even friends with that
wait,
person anymore.
okay, okay. Do you remember Chris CRISPR Caster,
Oh
whatever his
my
name was?
god,
Was it
yes.
him?
It I don't think it was. I think
I don't
he
I don't think it was that guy was I didn't like that guy.
I do I remember he was like our like we were like the trio.
Yeah.
I do remember us getting into fights with him a lot. It was mostly you two cuz like I was over here. I mean, I didn't even have a microphone when we met. I was I communicated solely through Xbox messaging and Minecraft signs cuz like Minecraft was like our first game that we actually like got introduced to, which is funny with now with the like Minecraft movie and everything. Which by the way, I one of my jobs is I work at a theater. I'm starting to regret that with the Minecraft movie. Oh my god. But regardless, yeah, that was just God. You,
Yeah.
you had so much
We
trust in me.
Yeah, I mean, I was just a kid playing Minecraft
That's true.
and I had this one really big world, um, or it was like some. I actually don't think it was that big of a world yet, but basically, one of my friends was like, "Oh, do you care if we play with this guy?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't care." And so we all us three played Minecraft, and you didn't have a mic or anything. We were just talking through signs, but we were just kind of hanging out. I was like, "Oh, do you want to build like a house or something?" We started, fucking shit up on the Minecraft creative flatlands,
Oh
and
yeah,
yeah, we made a super big world, um, whole ass like city
I
essentially.
do
Not a
remember that.
city, but like a
It
town,
was, yeah, it was like a
like
small
town styles.
town.
Um, but yeah, it was pretty cool, and that was kind of just how we like got introduced to each other was good old Minecraft. I don't know exactly how long it was, but for the first little while of us knowing each other, yeah, you were strictly like Minecraft signs was the easiest way of communicating.
It was. Because like we will play other games and stuff too, and it was just God, it was just such a
Xbox
hassle.
messages are more complicated to get to than a
Yeah,
Minecraft sign that's just in your hotbar.
I would just communicate through like if it was any other game, it was like crouching and like head movements, body
Yeah.
movements. So awkward. No one could barely understand what I was trying to say. God, it was a interesting time. A time without my communication was so primitive compared to the rest of y'all. And then I remember I would get like microphones, but they'd be like these cheap microphones that would break every like week or so. So even when I did have access to like proper communication, I didn't even it didn't last that long.
Yeah. And that also that brings us to kind of the later end of the 2011 to 2014 era, where it was I'd say there was a bit of a injustice phase in
There
there.
was the game Injustice. Oh my god.
Yeah, Gods Among Us. A straight peak, honestly. They were cooking with
Honestly,
that
yeah.
one.
And it was so funny how like in that game our main guys that we played were rivals. Like you played a lot of Deathstroke and I played a lot of Nightwing, and that was just because I was a huge Batman fan. I don't know if you were like similar in that like you were a big like fan, or if you just like the play style. I noticed in a lot of games um you play towards a play style than something you recognize.
Like preference,
Yeah,
because I never really like Minecraft was essentially like one of the few other games that I played. And so Minecraft, there's not really like a place like everybody plays Minecraft essentially the same way. Like you can set up your hotbar differently, you can build your houses differently, but everyone essentially plays Minecraft the same way. In other games such as Injustice and stuff like that, like yeah, I ended up kind of favoring like really agile play styles. And to
yeah.
this day, I still like stuff like that. That's more like swift. But yeah, Deathstroke was just like, I liked how agile he was. He was a badass. He had cool swords and did
Yeah.
spins and shit. And that was
God.
pretty baller to me.
And I remember because you were a big like you would rage on games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh God, I remember. I remember like again in the later days when I had like a mic that was like a constant, like I can actually like communicate constantly without having to resort to any sort of other communication methods. I remember in those days I would be silent for like a good like 20 minutes because I was like, I don't want to say anything. He's mad right now. Oh, he's gonna get mad at me. And sometimes I would be like, there'd be times where I was like better than you in some instances. Because most of the time, I'm not, for as long as I play video games, I am not that well of a gamer, right? You
Mhm.
are a pretty like avid and like and like good at video games. So like the times where I would beat you, you would sometimes rage, and I'm just like, all right, you know what? He can just have it. You know what? Next round, I'm gonna play like shit on purpose. But like, not an injustice. I would get like 2 wins, and I'd be bloating that over you because you get like the other 40. God.
Nah, I remember. I think playing video games with you also just like sparked my competitive nature because I remember like when you brought that up, like in certain games you'd be better than me and I'd rage. I like actually can remember the feeling
Yeah.
of like, "Oh, I don't want to be beaten in this. So I think that's why like back in the day on those games it would always be like if you were beating me in something we're spam queuing it, like we're just playing and playing and playing until I finally beat you.
Yeah. No. I remember, and I'd just be like, I don't think I've ever done this, but it literally be like, Kaden, I'm tired. It's like, I don't give a damn. Play the game. Queue up.
That's too damn bad.
I'm tired, Grandpa. That's too damn bad. It's literally what it was. I mean, it was fun. I mean, I was completely down for it. I mean, because I'm the type of gamer who's here for a good time,
And
not necessarily. Yeah.
you know, I was a bit of a rage gamer. And I was pretty like probably every day I got in the game, I would rage.
Yeah.
But that wasn't without you also having, you know, your fair share
Oh no, I
of
had my
rages from
moments.
time to time. You were much less common than I was, but
No,
there were
most
still
of mine
instances.
were from Injustice because I was so pissed because I was like, because I think I had the game longer than you, and I think that's what really like set me off. Is like, no, I had it longer. I should be better. I I practiced more because I was like on that game way longer than you are. But every time, like, if I averaged like 100 hours, you averaged like 40, and so I was so mad that you would just get on, beat the hell out of me, and then leave. And I'm like, oh, it destroyed my soul.
Good the good old days though.
Yeah, those were the good old days. When life was very much simpler. We didn't have to worry as much.
All
um,
we had to worry about was not riding our bike too far down the street.
that's true. It's true. I never even had to worry about that because I didn't ever learn how to ride a bike. Then like later on with like the Xbox One, I remember the Xbox One came out, and it was like we didn't have it like when it first came out. It was like a good, I want to say, 2 to 3 years afterwards. I want to say it was that because I remember it came out and then it was out for a while and like prices dropped and everything, and I finally got one, and I was so excited. I got on it, and I started playing the games, my old games, started buying new ones for that was made for the Xbox One and everything, new gen console. And then after a while, like I would still play my Xbox 360, but after a while, it would just I I mean, we can even go back to the messages. I just completely almost like ghosted you. It was not. I was like, I got this new thing now. I don't need you. God, it
I
was.
mean, honestly, like looking back at it, I couldn't have really blamed you because however old we were pretty young. And it was probably, yeah, it says here in the list like a 1 year gap.
Yeah.
It probably was like just a year, maybe a little over a year. But it was like you had gotten the Xbox One and I was still on the Xbox 360. And so you were just playing on your new console. So, I mean, game is game.
No, I mean, I always over exaggerate. It's like, yeah, I left you for a year. It's like I always say it's like you I completely abandoned you and everything. And then like after, because again the messages, I was looking back at them not recently, but I still remember them because they were just so sad. I would look and then you were like saying is like, hey, can we do you think we can game? Do you think all this, whatever? And I just like I look and I see no response from me. And I'm like, oh no. I felt so bad. Some of
11
those
year old Kaden is cooked right now.
some of those I probably like got in a call with you or like voice called you or something, and that's why I
Yeah.
didn't respond because like we immediately went into a call. But I know for a majority of them, I just didn't respond. I just ghosted you. It was just oh, and then like I don't know what again. I don't know what you were doing during this time, but I know for me, I was this was like middle school. I was making actual friends, and so I would get their they would also have like an Xbox One. I would get their gamer tags and we play and everything. What were you doing during that time? During the one
Um,
year gap or so?
well, it feels like it was earlier than middle school, but I think you're right. I think honestly, I was just I think this was because we were big on like Disney Infinity when we were still
Oh
both on
my
the
god.
Xbox 360, right?
Fucking yeah, Disney
That
Infinity.
was towards the end of um
Our days.
yeah, I think that was after Injustice, but that was like we were in the phase of playing that game when you ghosted me forever. No, but it was like I think it was Disney Infinity. Um and I mean, yeah, just school and stuff. Like I remember I was learning trombone uh
Oh,
and
you were a
like
bass
right as
player.
I went into middle school. Yeah.
Same. I was French horn.
Fire.
Actually, that's also around the same time. Yeah, middle school is also like same time I was like, I want to do band.
Yeah. I ended up at first I didn't really like it because I was kind of bad at it and I didn't really understand. And then uh I also remember like part of the reason I joined it was because my girlfriend at the time, yes, I was like in 6th grade with a girlfriend. Um
Hot shot. All right. All right.
hey man, I may have succeeded early on, but high school was not it. But either way, I remember I joined bands like with her, and then eventually we were no longer dating or quote unquote dating.
Yeah.
It literally just all labels at that point. Um, but yeah, then I ended up actually getting kind of like I started learning at home how to
Hmm.
use the trombone to its max potential, and I managed to learn how to play some shit pretty decent, and so ended up being cool. Um,
I'll just imagine little Caden just like, I'll show Casey. I'll learn this trombone. I'll be the best trombone player in the band.
no, but I actually did go into like a marching band uh like parade thing. It was cool.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, after that, that was the end of my band because I didn't like getting up early either.
it's never. Actually for us. It was we had a summer band camp, and
Mm.
that's where some memories were made that I don't not the quite the fondest of. They recommended us bringing like these I think they're called camelbacks where like you because it's like marching band training for marching band.
Mm.
Um, I think it's called camelbacks. I don't know what it is for sure, but it's just backpacks with like a hose where you can connect water to. They recommended us get that. Um, and then yeah, I actually did do. I marched in a couple parades. One of them, it was so hot. I granted, like I live in Texas, so it was marching. First of all, if you've seen any marching bands in Texas, marching bands in Texas go hard. Like there's marching bands and then there's Texas marching bands and they go hard. But like the ones I was like, it's like 90, almost 100 degrees, and you're marching out there. Like, oh god, it's terrible. I almost passed out one time. They looked at me. Or my section looked at me and they were like, Paul, are you okay? They go to my section leader, who's like same age, no real like authority over us other than rank. um she, we were at the bus and they were like, yeah, like Paul was like, he looked like he was about to pass out, and then like my section leader, she goes, meh. And I'm like, damn. Fine,
No.
man, whatever. He's like, what if he passed out? He's like, and then we leave him. I'm like, damn, okay, whatever, man. uh no, but that was, you know, those whenever we did have to go actually and do parades, it was torture. And I was never that good at band either way. I was I got promoted to, so we have concert and symphonic. Our
Mhm.
concert band is the lower tier, the symphonic is the higher tier. I know some in some places they have them switched in some schools and stuff in some regions. But for us it was the concert and then it was the symphonic. I got up to the symphonic band, but I was still like the worst. I was the worst of the best, which is not that big of an achievement. Especially when like almost like the entire section got promoted to the better band. And I was like, okay, you know, it was literally just like, we need members. So, so I mean, like, might as well join them. I was like, okay, whatever. And then I did
I
get to like
see.
regionals and everything, but I was also doing choir at the time. And I was like, yeah, I made it to regionals and choir. I'm like, I care more about singing than this silly instrument. And now I don't do anything with either. But
Hey, but
I mean,
you got that voice though.
it's true. I got it. If I ever want to use it, I got it.
If you ever need to spontaneously break glass,
If
you
I
know
ever
who
need
to
to
call.
for any reason just burst down the song, I can. um I mean but yeah, that's basically what I was doing during that time. And then I remember you finally got an Xbox One, and then it was I think I'm not sure if it was the first call, but we got in a call together. We were like, oh, what's up, whatever. I don't think either of us were actually too like excited. I think like maybe internally we were both maybe a little excited to like join up again, but if anything, it was the actual interaction was like, oh, what's up, man? I'm like, what's up? That was
Yeah, I mean, it
basically,
was just two guys. Like, it's like you could be away from your boy for like years,
yeah,
and you pull back up again, just dap each other up. It's business as usual.
it's business as usual. And that really how it is. That's really how it is now. We can get into it later with the later down the line. But I mean, yeah, that's basically how it is. Um, but the first memory I remember after coming back was I did introduce. I think you brought one of your IRL friends along, and then that prompted me to be like, oh hey, I can bring one of mine, and then we joined the friend groups. Worst I did not. No, it was like we like that day like we reconnected and they were like, you know what, let's make this a permanent thing. And then we joined both of our friend groups together, so now we have more connections, so we can't escape from each other. No, but it was really just the that was like the introduction of the big I was gonna say the beginning of the end. That's not what I mean. The beginning of something like very like something that grew into such a bigger thing. It sort of like snowballed into what we have right now, what we have today.
Now we're on to kind of the Xbox One days. Um,
Yeah, what I labeled the era of unity
yeah.
because of the interaction, the introduction of the two friend groups.
Um, I remember. I think this is when we started getting into Portal.
Oh yes,
Um,
no, that was still during the Xbox 360 days. I think we
okay. I
because I
think
remember
yeah, I
that
think that is right actually.
because I remember that because then we because I remember us also reminiscing. Oh god, reminiscing about a time about reminiscing. Anyways, uh, we would be reminiscing about like the old Xbox 360 layout because we would go into because Portal was very much, or the one we had was still the Xbox 360 version, and so it would
Yeah.
bring up into the old layout of the Xbox 360.
Yeah, because even like Portal today has the old, or Portal
Yeah,
2 today has the old ass like Xbox 360
like
layout to it.
yeah.
But yeah, Portal, I guess Portal has been there for forever. But we were still into Portal on the Xbox One. And then also um I think we started like this is when Fortnite came out.
Oh,
Like what else was there? Injustice 2, I remember you were more into it than I was.
oh yeah, that
Um
was well, that was later on.
well, when did Injustice 2 come out though?
When did
Yeah.
okay?
It had to have been around 2015, like 2016. But that's like Overwatch era and it feels
Injustice 2
young
is
or it feels
around
older
is
than.
2017 is when it came out.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, later end, sort of like
Yeah.
around the middle of our days.
But overall, this was just kind of like we got back into gaming with each other and yeah, middle school things. Do you remember who we introduced to one another? Because I don't.
If I remember correctly, I know yours for sure. It was your friend at the time, now our mutual friend Parker. Um
Okay, yeah.
and then for on my side, I think it was Luis and I think it's our other friend Trey.
Okay.
I think it was Luis and Trey that we introduced. So it was Luis, Trey, and Parker that we introduced all of us together. I don't remember. I was like, it was almost. I was a different person. I was a different person. I changed for the worse. it was. I was not a necessarily good person by the time. I was very cocky for no reason. It's not like anything was going great in my life. Not that everything was going wrong. It's just nothing. There was nothing to be cocky about. But for whatever reason, I was just kind of an asshole whenever you came back. I was just I don't remember why. And I remember you pointed it out to me, and I was like, damn. I looked at myself for a second. I was like, damn, I am kind of an
Looked at
asshole.
you looked over and saw yourself in the mirror staring back. You're
It's
like,
like
what have I become?
for real. That's exactly what happened. And it's like up until that moment, I was just complete asshole until you came in, pointed it out, and I'm like, oh god, I need to change.
I don't remember that. Like, what did I say? I just like said some shit to snap you back into reality.
I said some like really like mean stuff or something, and then you were like sort of. It wasn't there then and there at the time when I realized I was like I was being kind of a douche, but it what that was that's what started my thought process. You I said some like mean shit, and then you were like, "Hey man, you like cut it out. You're being like kind of a dick." And I think I just said like, "Yeah, whatever, man." And then, but after that, I was like, "Oh God, oh, I they hate me.
Am I the villain?
They hate me." No, but it was just. I mean, yeah, you kept me. You. I mean, and it's true for a lot of things. You keep me kind of grounded. I think I also do it sometimes for you. I think at certain moments I've kept you grounded. I mean, whether that's true
I
or
was
not,
gonna say it's funny how the turns have tabled
it's
because
true.
now I feel like I'm always being a dick to you.
Well, everyone is, but I mean nowadays. I mean, again, nowadays we know it's all jokes. We know we're a lot more mature with how we act and everything. So I mean, we're all friends. But back then it was a battlefield. Insult slinging left and right. People getting their feelings hurt.
Hey, but that's middle school, man.
It's true. It's true. That is middle school.
Yeah. Well, also, after this time, um, I can't remember exactly when it was, but I'm pretty sure you got a computer. Um, and then for a while, I was kind of once again
Left behind.
I got left behind a generation of consoles until I got my computer eventually. But yeah, I remember Xbox One, good times. Um and then yeah, like Fortnite, um what other games were there? A lot of Fortnite and Minecraft while you were on the computer.
I know I like and I still do for whatever reason. Not necessarily that I don't like the game anymore. Mostly because like the game nowadays is so like has so many like references to other things that I'm like that's kind of dumb. That's kind of stupid. But it's for children. I understand. But I know back then, like beginning Fortnite, I think I was just on the bandwagon of like everyone not liking Fortnite, and so I didn't like Fortnite, and that just made my entire like for the next like 10 years I just did not like Fortnite. And like we've played it like fairly recently, not too recently, but we played it fairly recently, and it was fun. Like it was somewhat enjoyable. I didn't hate it.
Yeah, it was entertaining.
Yeah, it was very entertaining to say the least. Like it wasn't too obnoxious as I thought it would be. But no, I mean, but back then I was just like this, I hate this. What is this garbage?
It
And
wasn't
then
too obnoxious. Meanwhile,
no,
the last time we played Fortnite was like fighting Godzilla.
that's true. But that was still fun. I was like for me, as much as I say it's like, oh, it's all like so many references, is like it's so obnoxious, all this. When Godzilla came up, I was like, get his ass, get his fucking ass. Go around to the side, corner him. I was like, it was like I was in it. But no, it's for whatever reason, again, I was on the bandwagon of like everyone hates the game, I hate this game. And it just followed me. I never gave it a chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like moving on, even like it's funny because like it's literally happened like twice now where I've gotten the next best thing and just left you in the dust. Again, very much I was a kid, I was an asshole, which is I mean, but going into like this is like what COVID time. We got our PCs. Um I know yours was like midst like the beginning of COVID. Like it was like that March where we had like, oh, you get 2 more weeks of extra spring break. That was like the time you got your PC. I remember.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like I've had it like for a little bit. I think I remember I did like sort of like stop playing with y'all, but I didn't stop playing with y'all completely because like Xbox 360, the Xbox One, I did like fully ghost you and like it stopped playing and like didn't talk to you for like a straight year. For this one, I was like, I just wasn't around as much. Now, yeah, and then like COVID came around, you got your PC and everything, and then we didn't have many games, so we still like mostly played on the Xbox One until we accumulated more games that we could like on Steam and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I remember this is when like we had like actual like how do I say it, like stories to tell because we had like some stories, some things happening in like our personal lives and stuff. But this is like the midst of like this is high school. This is where shit gets real.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but I remember this was the time where you like started like not having as many friends, to say the least. Because like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember freshman year was when COVID and everything happened. I had already like gone through a lot during that year. Um but long story short, after COVID and or like COVID had just gotten schools like gone into quarantine and whatnot. Yeah, I was more isolated because my recent girlfriend and I had broken up. Um, and then yeah, there was some other shenanigans going on middle or not middle school, high school shenanigans. Just people being not nice. And eventually, right after break happened, or what we thought was going to be a break, um, yeah, like we kind of realized that it was going to be a while before we were back in school, and um, my mom. I had really been trying to, for so long, I was trying to convince my mom to help me afford a computer. And
Yeah.
she wanted me to get all the money myself and whatnot. She still ended up helping me because she's a saint. But um I basically saved up enough money to go and get some base parts for building my own computer. And yeah, right after COVID, all that stuff happened. I got the parts, built it. There was probably an extra like week or two spent because I remember I fried my first motherboard.
Oh.
Um I plugged some shit in to the wrong ports.
It's
Uh
always that whenever you first try to build something, it's something always goes wrong.
yeah.
Whether it be something like detrimental where you have to buy new parts, or if it's something like something small where you just don't have enough knowledge to know how to fix it.
Yeah, I remember we got everything plugged in. Everything looked great. I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's the moment of truth. Let's turn it on." And a poof of smoke came out
Oh,
of the
no.
computer. It was like a cartoon. Um and I was like, "Oh, that's not good." And then I turned it off and it never released the smoke again and it could turn on just fine. Yeah, my motherboard was fried. So I had to get a new one. And then I eventually successfully built it. Um and yeah, I managed to finally get online and get Discord and oh god, Valorant, my
Oh
first like
no.
PC download
Was
because
that
it
the
was a
first? It
free
was the
shooter.
first
It was
one.
one of my first because I think it was Minecraft and Valorant were like my first ones I
This
got on
is
PC.
this is yet again another, and this one I've had moments where I'm like, you know what, maybe Valorant isn't so bad, but this one was like one of the ones where very much like Fortnite, where I was just like, I hate this game. But unlike
Yeah,
Fortnite, it wasn't like a bandwagon thing where like, oh, everyone hates it, so I hate it. It was very much like I tried it and I was like, I I do not like this game. And I still
yeah,
don't. I say a lot of people don't, especially
yeah.
nowadays. A lot of people are like, God.
No, but yeah, it was the first game I got basically on PC because I had just recently like looked up fun free PC games and whatnot, and I had just started hearing about Valorant,
It's
and
crazy
so I
because that did come
downloaded
out
it
like
and gave it a try.
midst of 2020.
Yeah, it like I joined or I had gotten on after it was fully released, so basically like towards the very end of the beta, I started playing.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, I was there for like uh Act One. I think I first really got into it in episode 3 of Act One.
I remember,
Um,
man, when when everyone selected the game and I was able to get actually good ranks. I looked back at my, because like, first of all, I have such a bad experience with Valorant, especially with my accounts because it's been hacked so many times. The amount of support tickets, they know me by name now. They're like, all right, Links. No, it's just God. I look back at my like competitive stats and like nowadays I can't even get like past iron or bronze or anything. But at some point, I think it was episode 3 or episode 2 or 3, I did get to like silver and something, and I was like, damn, I got the silver, and I'm looking at like my buddies and like I have a silver buddy. Like that's all like Uh, I was everyone sucked at the game. I know I wasn't good.
Yeah, it's really interesting how, especially like you saw it like first and foremost in Fortnite.
Yeah,
Like we were like all new games are just kind of like the first little while you're into them, they're just kind of like, or like the first duration of after they're out, it's like all, it seems so difficult and so foreign, but everyone is bad at it. And then
yeah,
you start like with Fortnite, it just becomes this monstrosity of people who have, min maxed every mechanic, and they're trying to just be the goats. And it's
yeah.
like it goes too far.
And honestly, that's like not to get too off topic and too deep into this, but like
Yeah.
it's I think that's a kind of a problem within like gaming communities and like games and stuff is that if you're not there, especially for like stuff that are like battle royales or like hero shooters or something, there's so few games that like, or maybe not few games, but there's like the really popular games that are like if you're not there from the beginning, it's really hard for you to as a new player to progress and get good at the game without having someone to like if you're completely on your own and you're a new player jumping in
Yeah.
to like what a game that's like been out for like 5 years and is still really popular, it's kind of hard for you to like get into it and like be good at the game because there's so many other people that have been there from the start or like from the very early stages that are just they've trained so much, they know like the ins and outs of the game that no matter what what you're doing, you're just gonna get absolutely wrecked.
Yeah. I think it's also like there's obviously going to be some sort of a learning curve when you're
Yeah,
introduced to a new game. And like the first thing that comes to my mind is Valorant, how it is kind of like, oh, well, you could like try to apply that logic to Valorant and say, well, no matter what in this game, they're going to be having a learning curve because, uh, you know, these people are good and it's just the nature of the game. But also, when you think of like compared to when Valorant first came out and it had probably like 8 agents or something like that, and now it's got like 30 something, that's a lot of
new mechanics to learn and stuff.
that's a lot of mechanics to learn, especially in a game like Valorant where everything goes off sound cues and like you need a lot of stuff for the game sense of it.
Yeah,
Um
and like
and yeah,
nowadays even with
it makes it
the
very unuser friendly or new
yeah
user friendly.
even with like the new agents, they're like it's it's still like the same mechanics, just different variations, but even that can get kind of confusing. And I honestly I think that's like one of the reasons I'm not a very like good like avid like gamer is because I get into games so late, like later on in the process that
Yeah.
like even if like y'all are playing it and everything, like for me it's just I'm never so interested in like the new and upcoming games that once I do finally get interested, it's like almost too late for me. It's just and y'all have to like teach me everything, and like I'm very grateful for the friend group we have that like I can jump in whenever I want, and then y'all are like very good, especially you, like you're a very good teacher. I won't say for some of the other people because some of the other people they try and then they get very, very frustrated with me. You're a very, I think it's because we have such a long lasting friendship that you know how I work,
Yeah, I
so
also learned like with like after you introduced me to Trey, like a lot of interactions between me and Trey became me trying to help him troubleshoot things. And I remember like there were certain points where you'd be like, Caden, can you just explain it to Trey? I can't handle this right now, or something like I remember certain people, probably Tenzo, not to name names, but
it's and
people would
it's
say that, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I became less likely to get agitated by helping more often.
yeah. And I want to say like it sounds like we're bashing Trey, but it's
Yeah,
of course like
I mean, Trey had a lot of valid questions. He
yeah,
just
no,
didn't
no,
really know how to navigate stuff, so it's like,
he's a lot better now. Like the thing with
yeah,
he's not like a lot of us joke of like, oh yeah, he's like dumb and everything, but like he's not. He's just not very technically apt, which is
Trey is actually like, bless his soul, I will say he's not the sharpest tool in the shed in the sense of like he picks up on things fast. But Trey is like the hardest worker ever.
yeah,
And he really like, if he wants to learn something, he does. And
yeah.
I really aspire to be more like that. Because
No,
Trey is super hardworking.
no, yeah, but for real, like again, as much as we give him crap, he's just not as technically apt, and he's gotten way better. If you met if someone were to meet the Trey I first met versus the Trey that we like hang out with now, he's so much better. He's so much like he knows his way around certain things a lot better than he
Yeah.
used to. And
It's
it's because he
also
has
like,
that commitment and he has that like he doesn't let anything like sort of get him too far off the road of what he actually wants to do.
yeah, he also just in general, like, he's better at some things than others. Like, like all his aircraft stuff, I have no idea what any of that
Yeah,
stuff is. Trey's super good at that stuff. Uh just because I'm pretty sure Trey's just good with his hands. Like, he's better mechanically than otherwise.
yeah.
But yeah, Trey's a good guy. Not to have a whole like section dedicated to glazing Trey.
He's gonna listen and be like, and he's gonna feel
He's gonna
so
watch this and be like, "Damn, they're just calling me an idiot."
yeah, he's gonna watch the first part of it is like of me like not to say that Trey's an idiot. He's like, damn. No, but I mean, this is a good like jumping off point. This is also like when we started to like going into more of like the PC stuff and like getting into like our interactions with other people there. This is also when we started to meet like more online friends because really we had some online friends in the past. um Gonna be honest, most of them were kind of dicks.
A lot, yeah. It's funny how toxic the internet is, right? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
man, I would never thought. No,
It's unbelievable.
no, but what's it called? It's just who was the? It was y'all. It was actually you and Trey who like started off with like our gathering, like our some of our closest online friends, and it was just we created this little community to ourselves that some people came, some people left. We also had, what was a big part of creating the community, which is kind of sad, but kind of funny at the same time. Among
What?
Us.
Yes, true.
Because is it the I think the Discord server where we have like all of our friends in currently right now, where we like communicate the most in. I don't know if that was the one that like if the Among Us, because we had an Among Us server that we would just invite everyone we knew, like everyone you knew
Yeah.
personally, everyone I knew personally. We would just invite everyone, whoever wanted to play. We'd play and we go into call. We knew if we could and everything. Um, it was just a giant like community of like our conjoined like
Yeah.
mutuals.
Yeah, it was just a big ass, like, it was just a server dedicated to getting people to come and play Among Us, essentially.
Yeah, and then again, as I'm saying, I don't know if that turned into the server we're in now, but I know it definitely. If it didn't, it definitely sparked the conversation to create. a server like that, to create a
Yeah.
server that like such a large amount of people that can come in whenever they want to play games and stuff.
I don't remember if it was the same server or not, but we made the server. We had our main group of people that we had already come across, like with playing Valorant and just all of our previous times finding people to kind of hang out with online. We made a server and invited people to it that we had just met, and yeah, if anyone was like cool, we'd invite them, hang out with them for a little while, um, and just they didn't have to stay, but some of them did, and it turned into our current server today, which we don't. I mean, we're not the biggest server, but like we got a good list of people on here, and
Yeah, I
some of
mean,
them like are people we know. Some of them I don't remember ever talking to,
yeah,
but
some of the members are more prominent and
yeah,
involved than others.
others are just there.
I mean, yeah, but that's just what I'm saying. Like, even if like we're close friends, it's just they're in there, and we're all just in there to have fun. We don't necessarily have to like be involved or join or talk or anything, but you're you're part of a community whenever you're invited to join,
Yeah,
which is
just to convene and stuff.
yeah, it was just honestly what I've been trying to do for the longest time, even if I haven't been super conscious about it, like or like haven't realized that that's what I wanted to do. I mean, it's I mean, I can't give myself too much credit because like you did most of the heavy lifting. Like honestly, like for years, like especially like now, I very much want to create a community where like people feel free to like talk and like to enjoy their time. And as much as I try to say like that I can do it, I mean you have done it. Like sure, like I was there through all of it, but I was sort of just a bystander, and not to like blaze you too hard, but like you are very much, even when you, if it doesn't seem like it, you are very much like a people person. You are a, I would say you are a person that comes and walks into the room and you feel comfortable around. You feel comfortable talking to them. You feel comfortable like joining in the conversation. You're the type of person who like if I wasn't like, if I was just sort of like standing there like if I'm at a party like red solo cup in the corner wishing I can go home, if I saw you across the room, I'd be like, oh, there's Kaden, and then I walk over, and then like even if you're in the middle of talking to someone, I'll like join in the conversation, and then you'd be perfectly fine with it. You like interact with me, you'd be like, oh, what's up, and then like include me in the conversation. You That's the kind of person that like I see you as.
Well, I appreciate that, Paul. It
Yeah,
it's I mean it's one thing to do it online,
that's
and
true.
I think IRL I am very like I get anxious about that sort of stuff, and um no, it's good to hear that from you, and I appreciate it. But I think yeah, like online from my perspective, it was always just kind of let's get on today and see what kind of, you know, shenanigans we get up to in the server and, playing games and stuff. And then, if anybody brought someone new into the server, it was kind of already like a space where people were comfortable with me and I was comfortable with the people there. And if anybody new came in, then, it was kind of like I didn't have anything to worry about because I was already in kind of like this safe space of people who like me and people who I like. But it also like I think it's good that new people can come in and kind of liven things up because you don't want to get too concrete in your ways of thinking or anything. Not to say that people who came in to the server were always of perspectives to be heard out, but
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of the things I've like, and this is me being like very, genuine. One of the things I've very much admired about you is that you're so like socially, how do I say, socially attractive. Like, because like you're like, let's say just from my own experience, again, it's just some guy you randomly meet that can't even talk to you like through like a voice chat, or like can't properly communicate, and the only way you can communicate is through like text on a random video game or on a random console. You still like continue to conversate with me and everything, and then like even when we get into these games, you're always the one who's like hyping the team up. You're like, come on guys, we got this. If we're losing like terribly, you're always the type of guy who's like who's like, don't worry guys, we can bring it back in the next half, we got this, just keep your spirits up and everything. And like you don't let anything bring you down, and it's just it's something I heavily admire. You're such a person that really embodies that sort of safe space for people, and it's something I really admire.
Well, thank you, Paul. I I love to hear that. I appreciate it.
And then like moving moving forward, like you're also, it's just and I think it's just something with the friend group as well. The friend group we've created is just, we're always so welcoming to new ideas, because like moving along, we have like, one of the ideas I had was gonna be like, because Tenzo lives like 4 hours away from me. I texted him as a joke. I was like, hey, what if I just drove over there, picked you up, and then I think you were in the call when we were initially talking about it, but you joined and I had said something about it, and you were like, and we joked around. It's like, hey, why don't you come down too? And then you were like, all right. And then you started buying the plane tickets, and I'm like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? And then I see you, and you're like, oh man, I made a mistake. Hold on. It's like, all right, I got my refund. I can get the actual plane ticket now. I'm like, what are you doing? All this. And it was just, it literally within like 2 weeks of planning. If 2 weeks. Like, I think it was actually just like 1.5. We planned this entire trip where we all came down. And we rented an Airbnb and everything.
Yeah, and it was funny because I had, like, we were literally just kind of on call, like discussing the possibility of me coming down and like what we're gonna do and how we would set things up. And then it was like, oh yeah, guys, I bought my plane ticket. And then within that time after it, we kind of just, yeah, we got everything fixed away, and how pricing was going to work, how everyone was paying,
Yeah.
how each person was chipping in, and what we were going to be doing during the trip. And yeah, it was
Pretty spontaneous.
yeah,
How it all
yeah,
happened. How it went down.
spontaneous. Exactly.
And I remember, God, the worst and best part about that whole experience was driving. Cause like because the way I did it was, I had to go over from where I live, over all the way to where Tenzo lives, which is around, by the way, planned 4 hour drive. I made it in two. Don't ask. I don't know either. I don't know. I swear I wasn't speeding that much. No, no, but like, we went over. I drove over to him, and then drove over to the airport. Um, and waited there for like 3 hours because I
Yeah.
came in so early. I don't know how that happened. I swear, even on like Google Maps, it's at like 3.5 hours. So I would have been like maybe 30 minutes early. I somehow did it in 2 hours, and I don't know how, because there was like still like construction being done. There was like places where we had to stop and wait for like 30 minutes because it was like the middle of the night. They always do like random construction in the middle of the night because there's not as many like people driving by and stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and also Texas is always under construction. But somehow I cut 2 hours off of my original planning time. And then yeah, it was just you came up. I saw you came up, and I literally lifted you up in the air. And then it was just the drive back, and honestly, the drive with all of us in it on the way back, it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. It was so like, and it
It
was so
was
natural
surreal
too.
at first.
It was very surreal, and it was so natural. It wasn't like we met each other for like the first time, and it wasn't like weird or anything. It was very much like
It was just like we were in voice call,
it
but
was, yeah.
IRL, bro.
Very, yeah, I don't think
Crazy. They made VC
they
IRL.
made
New
VCIRL.
update
Oh
just
my
dropped.
god.
Crazy.
No, but I mean, everything was so natural. We got the only thing I will say, like pivotal moments where I was like, all right, guys, we need to do this. We need to do this. You slept your way. Like it was like moments before we're like, all right, we need to go, we need to go, we need to go, we need to like pack up, we need to go and do things. And you were sleeping the entire time. And I was like, God damn it, Kaden.
I'm pretty notorious for sleeping in until the last second.
Yeah. And then like I felt like a dad trying to wake up his son. I like I felt how I that day I knew how my dad felt when I was younger trying to wake me up for school. I woke you up once. You went, huh? It's a kid, we gotta, we gotta pack up my stuff. And you were like, okay, yeah. And then you went back to sleep. And I'm like, whatever. And then I go, and then the second time I was like, Kaden, we have to go. You have to pack up. It's like, and then you went, okay, and then turned in bed, and I'm like, bruh. The third time, I think I yelled at you the third time. I was like, Kaden, we have to go. And then you were like, all right, okay. And then you finally like got up and you like scrounged around for a little bit. And I think I don't know if you got back in bed or if you like laid on the couch and started sleeping again. One of the two. But
Pretty sure
point is,
I got dressed and then got back in bed.
you did do that. You got dressed, got back in bed. I'm like, oh my god, there ain't no
Well,
way.
so it's because like if I'm really tired, it's always like my time management is always down to like the last atom of a second. So I like I'll calculate how long could I like clean up my shit in the room? How long could I like will it take me to brush my teeth and get dressed and all this stuff? And then, whatever excess time it can go to sleeping.
I
But
Yeah,
it was a good trip.
it was a very good trip.
We did a lot of cool content and stuff, and yeah,
It's
just cool random shit. That was pretty fun.
I was, and that's also like, I'm better now. But that's also like the first time you saw, because I was still around that time of my life. I was very much. I had a problem with anxiety, and
Mhm.
I would get constant like anxiety attacks. I have literal scars, and you've seen them too. I have literal scars where um they I had a panic attack where I just started scratching myself, and it got to the point where it would go through like the second, third layer of my skin, and it would be like yellow and everything. Yeah, it would be like yellow and everything. It was just it was not a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, and you also experienced that with like some of the things like y'all were like messing around. Y'all were just having fun, but like there was a guy. Yeah, it was like middle of the night. Y'all were messing around outside, and there was a guy who was like who yelled at y'all, who was like, get back inside or whatever. And like I heard that and my brain like shut off. I was like, oh god, oh no, we're gonna get in trouble. Oh my god. And then like Trey and like so someone, I think it was Trey and Romeo, one of our other friends, he goes, they both are like, he's like, it's fine, nothing's gonna happen, calm down. And I was just like, yeah, whatever, man. I'm like, I try not to conversate with him because like my anxiety is gonna turn into anger and I don't want to get mad at y'all right now. And then like that's again, it's also one of the things where like you where I say you become you're such a welcoming person because like you saw that I was very anxious and very like anxiety driven at that moment, and you came up and he's like, hey, are you okay? He's like, hey man, and you like hugged me and you're like, hey, I'm sorry, all this whatever, and I'm like, I was not expecting that at all. I was expecting you to do anything like that. I was just gonna like it was very prominent that I was very anxious because I was just pacing around everywhere, pacing from the bedroom, pacing to the living room, pacing all this, and it was just like I was just trying to calm down. And then you
Yeah.
came, and I was like, oh, okay. And and then everything was fine until later, and then the Airbnb was like, the owners were like, you guys suck.
You guys were the worst
You guys were the
I've
worst
ever had.
people. Yeah. And to be honest, I can't even blame them. Can't blame them
I
that
mean,
much. There were some things that were like, come on, you're stretching here. Like you
yeah, like we didn't do everything he said we did,
no.
but there was also some stuff in there that was like pretty valid.
Yeah.
Like I remember Romeo broke a glass trying to shove a soda can into it, which is like, what are you doing,
They
bro?
didn't even mention that. I remember they didn't even mention that in the message where like you guys need to pay for damages. The thing we paid for damages for was like a stain that like probably could have already been there. But I
Mhm.
digress. If they were like, yeah, you guys broke this glass, you need to pay for damage, I was like, all right, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, here's your money. I was pretty much like that anyways, but y'all weren't. I sent that to y'all and y'all were like very much like trying to defend uh us. But again, I digress. The ride back home was another interesting one because I had no sleep.
Yeah.
I was completely sleep deprived, and I tried my hardest to try and like not fall asleep on the road. I remember I took like a quick 20-minute nap in the middle of nowhere. I was like, give me a minute, give me a minute,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, you were like, give me a minute. And we just turned the air conditioning up, sat there for a little bit.
Yeah. And then we got Tenzo home. We started driving towards the airport, and at some point, like I think I was just, I don't know. It could have been that I was just driving for too long and I got relaxed, or maybe it was because I was with you or something. I don't know. It's also y'all. I even told y'all, guys, talk to me so I don't fall asleep. And then, and then like after a while, y'all just stop talking. Like I was, I was like, guys, can you guys talk to me so I don't fall asleep? I remember one point I even said, "It's like, can you guys like please like can we like talk about something?" And you guys go, "Oh yeah." Proceeded to not talk about anything. And I'm
Well,
like,
okay, to be
bro,
fair, when anything happened, it was when it was just you and me in the
that's
car.
true.
But also, yeah, I probably wasn't talking to you that much.
I remember too the moments we started talking a lot was when we were stopped because we had to wait for other cars, and I'm like, God. But yeah, I remember I fell asleep at the wheel and I started drifting. It wasn't bad. It wasn't
It
too super
wasn't that
bad.
bad.
We always every time we talk about it, we always hype it up and we're like, oh my god, you fell
We
asleep at the
almost
wheel, which
died.
we almost died. And it's like, yes, that could have happened. That is the worst case scenario. And like in that instance, in that sort of like scenario, it's you always got to think worst case scenario, and so you never want to like fall asleep at the wheel. And what I did was very stupid, trying basically staying up all night and then trying to drive. Yeah. Would not recommend. So
Yeah, bad idea. Bad idea.
yeah, who let you do that?
I mean, it worked out though.
It did. But what's it called? Yeah, I drifted like slightly off the road, and then I drifted back, and I drifted slightly off the road, and I realized, two things made me wake up immediately. Were the little like things on the side of the road that like dun 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 dun
Little
dun dun dun,
bumps
dun, the little
for
bumps.
waking up truckers.
Yeah, and then you go, and also you in the calmest voice ever go, oh shit. No panic at all. you were like, oh my god. You were sort of like, it kind of sounded like you were like kind of excited. Like something's happening. And I veer back on the road. I'm like, oh, I'm like, my entire body is shaking. I turn over and like go to park on the side of the road. I was like, all right, you're driving, get in the driver's seat. I'm not doing this anymore. uh I even told you that like later on, I was like, you sounded so calm, and then you were like, listen, I had my fair day of crashes. I'm like,
I was literally 2 seconds ago. I was like, I've been in my fair share of
yeah.
car wrecks. Okay.
You're like, I'm used to it. And I'm like, damn, bro.
Nah,
And
like it wasn't that bad though. It was like you drove. I could tell you were falling asleep too
I
because,
didn't say anything.
well, no, because at first what had happened was I was just chilling in the passenger seat, right?
Mhm.
I'm just kind of looking out the window. I'm like looking down ahead of our car, and I see you're starting to kind of go like, I think you were like going too far to the left, and I was like, okay, well, maybe he's just avoiding something or something, and I proceed to see like you're not getting any further from the side of the road, and so I was like, huh, that's interesting. And then we got to the point where we're on the dirt, and that's when I was like, oh shit. That's when it was kind of like, oh, we're like, Paul is asleep right now. We're running off the road currently. Um, but I think I also like said Paul a couple times
Did
or
you?
something like that. I'm pretty sure I was like, Paul, oh shit. And then yeah. I mean, you would woken up by that point.
The
But yeah, I mean, all was well. Sure, you drove off the side of the road for a second, but you like instantly went back up. We pulled over and switched who was driving, and all was well.
and then I remember we stopped at that one giant gas station with all the
Yes.
with all the food and the gift shops and everything. Their bathroom was amazing. And then I bought the little this little like gun that was a zapper. And I remember I grabbed it because I grabbed it by the trigger and I zapped myself and I'm like, oh damn. And you're buying something, like you're like actively buying something, you didn't see me at all. I zapped myself, I was like, oh damn. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be funny. And I looked, it was like $15. I'm like, it's worth it. And I put it, and I was like, he's like, yeah, I'll buy this real quick. It's like, and then I showed it to you as we were like on our way to the car. And you're like, oh cool, what is it? It's like, and I don't know what I said. I think I said it was like, yeah, it's like a light or something. Yeah, because you can see, even because it was a light, but one of it was a light on the like barrel. There's like a little flashlight. It's like, yeah, there's like a light or something. And then like we were already in the car. We're sitting in the car, and you went to grab it from me, and you also grabbed it by the trigger, and you went, "Oh, you bitch! What the fuck?" It was so funny. And then I ended up gifting it to Trey after tricking basically everyone I knew.
That's funny. And that's basically like how our in-person meeting went. After the week, uh, yeah, we drove back, um, and yeah, I headed home on a couple different flights.
Because you had to fly
Yeah.
from Washington to Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I went from Washington all the way to Atlanta. It was like I went because the my flight took off from Washington. I think it was like 11 or something like that. And then the entire night was spent going to Atlanta from probably like 3 a.m. to 5 or 6 a.m. I think I was laid over in Atlanta. And then finally at like 8 or 9, I had made it. And then on my way back, Oh God, I think it was like Missouri.
Oh,
They put me in Missouri. It was just for like an hour. Um, but it kind of scared me because on my first flight was because I only had like the hour layover for my other one for my second flight. My first flight got delayed by like 30 minutes.
oh,
Yeah, and so I was like, "Oh shit." And so I went up to the flight attendant. I'm like, "Hey, uh my flight is going since this flight's getting delayed, my next flight, I only got like 20-30 minutes to get to it. Is there any way I could like be switched a spot so I could get off the plane faster?" And then they moved me to an emergency seat, which was pretty sick because I had it by myself and I had leg space.
oh sick.
So
Oh.
we were up on the way back, baby.
Dude, that's the best kind. I've only been on 2 planes and it was for the same trip. And God, leg spaces suck. You can put me in first class or economy with leg space and they'd be the same to me.
Yeah.
God, it's such a luxury.
No, but yeah, it was a good trip. Oh, I did lose
Oh yeah, you
I
lost your
lost
sunglasses.
my sunglasses that were like several $100s.
No. I remember you texted me that. It's like,
Heartbreaking.
hey, it's like, hey, are they anywhere in your car? And I'm like, no, brother, I'm sorry, they're not.
I'm 90% certain they slid out of my pocket like at the airport or on the plane or somewhere, but lost my sunglasses and that was painful.
Yeah. You also, not to mention, you came to Texas at the like hottest time of the year. it was
Yes.
it was reaching like 110 because you came in like August, which is like June or July. August is like the hottest time of the year. July, August, like September, and you came in. And I was like, this dude's gonna die. He's gonna die of a heat stroke. I mean, you were
And but
fine.
did I?
No, you were fine. You were actually like chilling for most of it. You were
I
complaining
mean,
that the room was too cold because I had the fan on constantly.
yes, true, bro. Nah, I don't fuck with fans. But yeah, I mean, I remember
You're
it
that audience. He
was
doesn't fuck with fans.
yeah,
Don't
true
approach
that.
him. Don't approach him.
Um, no, but I remember it was very hot, but like also it wasn't too much hotter than it could get here, you know?
It's
And
also
so
we were mostly inside most of the time too while you were here.
yeah, true. We were always like in the car going somewhere or inside of an establishment or just like chilling in the Airbnb.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, also like I don't know. I kind of like it warmer because um it gets really cold here and I hate that.
I'm the opposite. I hate the heat. I love it when it gets really cold. Man, we should we were born in
Nah,
the wrong
bro.
climates.
Nah, for real. But no, like if you guys ever come down here, we'll just have like a Christmas week. We just we just Airbnb like a log cabin.
That'd be so oh my god. That'd be amazing. Because even the
Good.
Airbnb we got here, it was a nice Airbnb, but it was small.
Yeah, it was pretty small.
I can't imagine a log cabin would be any bigger though. I guess a little bit more like living dining room space. But like
Yeah.
I can't imagine the bedrooms would be any larger.
No, but yeah, that kind of wraps up our most recent stuff. I mean, after all that, it's kind of just been back to business as usual with gaming and trying to make content together and
Yeah.
yeah.
Any specific memories you have in mind that you wanted to share?
Um, there's none coming to mind right now. Um, none that are relevant.
Yeah. You know what? The only one I really wanted to talk about was since yeah, we live like halfway across the country, right? Or
Mm.
halfway across we live all the way across the country. It's and it's the thing with time zones. And specifically what I wanted to talk about was the whenever we would put all nighters. And you know, I give you shit a lot. And it's
Oh
not
boy,
like
here we go again.
it's not like because when we did all nighters, right, it would always be a like I'm 2 hours ahead of you, so we would do all nighters, and you get off at like 6 a.m. and you're like, all right, that's it for me. See you later, big dog. And then I'm like, it's 8 a.m. for me. I'm like, I had to go to school in 30 minutes. I'm like, I'm dying, and I give you a lot of shit for it, but there's nothing we could have really done, right? Sure, we could have gotten off at a later time or earlier time, like 4 and 6. But you know, I didn't want to be a wuss. um, and you know, I always complain about it. I remember I complained a lot back then, I remember it really got on your nerves, and you had like a conversation. It's like, hey man, I can't do anything about it. What do you want me to do? But like, there was really nothing we could have really like done other than like get off earlier or something. And so
Yeah.
like, but that's the only thing that I wanted to point out was the difference in time zones really hit us when we were younger.
Yeah. I'd like to point out as well the odds of me getting off at 6 a.m. and then going to bed. Come on. It had to have been like, it was probably like 4 or 5 a.m. my time. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna try to get some sleep. Because if it hit 6 a.m., I think I'd be like, you know what? I'm staying up the rest of the day. And we did do that
You know what?
occasionally.
I remember I do remember that you would try to get off at 4 and I'd always be like, "Hey man, I stayed up till 6. Why can't you stay up till 6?" And that was like the main thing that would get us arguing was like,
Okay.
"Hey man, he's like you're 2 hours ahead of me. There's like no way that like you can like I can stay up longer than you." And I'm like he's like, "Hey, you at least till 6" is basically like my entire argument. And then I think I at some points I'd be like, well, I stayed up till 8. Why can't you stay up till
Yeah.
it was basically me. It was basically just a thing of me trying to continue playing because I felt I didn't want to go to sleep. Because I knew the moment I got off, I was dead. But no, it was that's the only thing that I wanted to really bring up was the difference in time zones that were that
Yeah, the
really
the effect.
the effect that it had on the younger us. I mean, even now, it's not even it doesn't affect us like as much now. But there's like certain things like whenever I'm streaming and like you're like the main like person I'm streaming with, and then you have to go suddenly eat dinner at
Yeah, at like 8 p.m. your time.
at 8 10 p.m. my time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like. Yeah, it'll be 10 p.m. I'm like, my dad's already asleep. My entire house is dead, and you're like, all right, time to go eat dinner. And I'm like, what?
Uh, time is so silly.
For real.
What a construct. But no, that kind of yeah, that kind of rounds out our experience up until this point. You know, we from Xbox 360 days playing Portal and Injustice Gods Among Us to our Xbox One days and you know, making the origination of this server and you know the amalgamation of all the people we've come to know and love in Paul's content and my own. Um, it's just a great little ditty, not a ditty, a little story. Okay. Hey man, I brought up Diddy. We had such a good episode on our hands.
No.
No, just a little just a good little story for you to from us to you to learn about our origins and how we've come to know each other. Um, but yeah, Paul, is there anything else we're missing?
I mean, no. I mean, that's pretty much it. Oh, you know what was one thing? Just a quick thing. Um, fun little fact. 2015, which is the date I have like started for the era of Unity, basically the Xbox like 1 days, is when I started the Linksaw channel.
Wow.
It is the Linksaw Theater established in 2015. That's not my first YouTube channel. You can find, actually, don't search it up, but I'm gonna tell you. There is a video with a very young me where I introduce myself where I'm like, "What's up, guys? My name is Game." Oh my god, we completely skipped over Gamer as a nickname for me.
Oh,
Oh,
true.
oh my
All right,
god.
let me just give a little recap to him, so they get caught back up. So essentially, back in the day when Paul and I think it was still Xbox 360 or it was Xbox One.
It was
Gamer or
360.
Paul went. Now I'm
You
calling
know
you
what? You
Gamer
almost
again.
reverted.
Paul basically had the username. I think it was Gamer like 16, 17
It
or something
was
like that.
Gamer 2756.
Yes, 2756. Basically, I ended up calling Paul Gamer for forever. It was literally like a year or two ago.
Yeah, what is it? We're
We
we're we're
on
sitting at
those
14 years now. I think 12 years. 12 of those years you called me Gamer.
yeah, probably. Um like it was only until we probably didn't talk for like a couple months just out of like us being busy or whatever.
Yeah.
And when we got back online, I was like, I wonder if he wants to be called this because I remember one of the last like things you had said to me or something. It wasn't like super recent, but it was one of the things that stuck out to me that we had discussed earlier was like you and me, like if we were to meet IRL and hang out IRL, would I still be calling you Gamer? And so
And I was
I
like,
was like,
please don't.
yeah, you were like, don't call me that in person. It's gonna be weird. Um, and so yeah, at some point I was just like, well, I guess I'll start calling him Paul. And so I finally started calling you by your gross name or
What?
whatever. Um, and yeah, that leads us to here. What do you think, Gamer?
Stop. And now every time, like, I used to be like completely fine with it because I was so used to it. And then when you first did start calling me by my actual name, I was like, oh, oh.
It sounded weird calling you Paul.
I was like, and you didn't even like announce it. You didn't even like,
Yeah,
okay,
I
I'm
just
gonna
started
start calling
calling
you
you
Paul.
Paul.
You were like, hey Paul, you want a game? And I'm like, yeah. I like did a double take. I'm like, huh?
Did you just my
Uh,
name?
He's like, what? That's, you don't call me that. And, yeah, you did it just. And then we called, and I'm like, I mentioned it, and you like just said it. I was like, yeah, I mean, I just figured like I might as well use your name. I was like, okay, all right. I was like, I guess we won't talk about it. It's fine. It was just, oh, it was such a weird thing. But nowadays, I'm like, you call me that, I physically like, my body rejects it. I think if you called me that in front of if you introduced me as Gamer, I think I would physically vomit. I don't accept that as a name anymore.
Uh, so if you're watching this episode and or listening, and you want to mess with Paul,
Don't.
Just
Bounce.
refer to him as gamer in the comments of all of his videos,
No. Oh,
and he will never live it down.
God, bro.
Continue my legacy. We have
There's some
if you'd like.
videos. There's some videos up on the Linksod channel where you are still calling me gamer.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to see said videos where he's being called gamer, and
We're
you
plugging
want
socials
to
now.
comment on said videos referring to him as gamer, then go check out Paul's Twitch and YouTube channel at Linksod, and check out his Instagram at Paul Heckemesser.
Yep. And I have both an Instagram for the Linksod channel and for my own personal thing, which is just my name, Paul Hagemesser. And that's going to be Linksod at LYNKSOD. That's Linksod at LYNKSOD. Or Paul Hagemesser at PAULHACKEMESSER. That's Paul Hagemesser at PAULHACKEMESSER.
It's like a phone number. I like that.
Well, I mean, you gotta say it because it's not like you can put it up on the screen or anything.
It's true. It's true. I also, if you're interested in any of my content, I have a couple different forms of media. Get ready. YouTube is just nameless, capital N. Keep that in mind. Instagram is L_Kaden, EL_KADEN. And then on Twitch, it's just 07 nameless, same as the YouTube, but with 07 in front. So thank you for watching.
Thank y'all so much.
Yeah. Closing remarks. If you want to have any way you want to, close us out.
We will see you next time. And just, now you can tell all your, if you tell any of your friends, any of your family about this podcast, about this episode, don't tell them too much because remember, you had to be there.